Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick here. Sir, welcome back to our program and good morning to you. I don't know if he'll be back over the next 2 years for the rest of his term, the remainder of his term, or whether or not this is a one-and-done operation here. Simple question. What's going to change because of it?
Nothing. In fact, it may only get worse, Bill, because he actually is talking about bringing more people in. You know, I thought it was interesting in your clip that Mayorkas talked about the cartels charging $6,000 a person between the entry points. I thought Mayorkas said the border was secure. Apparently, he knows the cartels are pushing people across at $6,000 or more per head. So I guess Mayorkas really doesn't know what he's talking about, or he's been lying to us all this time. And when Trump came to the border, and I spent a couple of visits with him down the border, the trip was different, Bill and Dana. I mean, he came, spent a lot of time. I remember in McAllen going right up to the river's edge with the president. I remember having a roundtable meeting that went for an hour and a half with people who lived on the border, with law enforcement, with local officials. The president really wanted to learn. Donald Trump really wanted to learn what was going on and fix it. This president really doesn't want to know what's going on. He didn't see any illegal immigrants. They cleaned up and sanitized El Paso before he got there. This was just another tour stop in El Paso like Kamala Harris took. You'll remember that's where she went, away from the action. Not that a lot of people haven't been crossing there, but, you know, they kind of cleaned up everything for him, sanitized it for his visit.
In fact, let's just show that. We actually have some pictures. Call for number 4 here for everybody to see at home. This was the situation of migrants in El Paso, photographs of that before the visit and then after. So you can see the pretty stark difference. And usually this can happen when somebody's coming to town and they don't want them to see. I do want to ask you about this. So now the question is no longer when will you go to the border, because now President Biden and his team can say he went to the border. So they've answered that question, even if it was kind of a check-the-box exercise. You have 8 senators who are going to be going to the border. Senator Cornyn from Texas will be one of them. Do you think that there might be some way, some momentum to get Texas the resources it needs to secure the border? As the governor said in his letter to Biden, is $20 billion in 2 years too late? But is there some light at the end of the tunnel here?
I don't know. As long as you have a Secretary of Homeland Security who's a liar, I don't see much progress. He needs to go. He needs to resign or be fired. If Biden is serious about securing the border, number one, he would offer Mexico, as Congressman Walsh said, help to their military. I'm not saying sending military troops, but, you know, we're helping Ukraine. How about helping Mexico fight against the cartels, who Mayorkas admits is pushing people now, he admits this, across the border? Number two, I don't see any reduction. We're talking about more people coming across, not less people. Biden should implement the Remain in Mexico policies. Those seeking asylum stay in Mexico. It worked very well for President Trump. He should not be fighting the ending of Title 42. So he may go there for a photo op, but everything he does is opposite of what he says. And if you really think about it, he didn't say anything yesterday about securing the border. We're beginning our session tomorrow, and I've already authorized in our budget, which we've been writing for some time, another $4 billion, and the House has as well, that we're going to spend of Texas taxpayer money again. When Trump was president, we spent about $400 million a year, and now we're spending several billion a year, and that's Texas taxpayer money.
Yeah, that is not fair to the Texas taxpayers. I mean, you could be spending that money on a lot of other things. And so thank you, Lieutenant Governor.
Dan Patrick, thank you for your time.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.